So I had inherited the conventional wisdom from the institutions that it was really bad. At the same time, I will admit that my instincts were that maybe it wasn't as bad as they were leading me to believe. Because whenever I was in the sun, I felt good, and I live in Vermont. By the time winter was
Reaching like month 6, I felt bad, right?
Right.
So I was like, there's more here than we're being told.
Yeah, that was my wife's opinion. She's like, the sun can't be bad. It always feels good when you go out there. I'm like, oh, no. It's a little more complicated than that, but that is the instinct. Like, it feels great when you're in the sun. Like, it's like your body wants it.
Your body wants it. I mean, we now know that it literally triggers the release of opiates in the brain, sunlight. So yeah, your body wants it, and your body rewards you when you get it.
So what is the issue? Well, let's go back to the beginning. So you had this idea that sun exposure is probably giving people cancer, and sunscreen is good. You need to wear sunscreen, stay out of the sun. So
When you started going into the research, what made you shift your opinion?
So it really started for me like 7 or 8 years ago. I was on this like science journalism fellowship, so I was just doing research, and some of those studies hit. The one about opiate release in the brain, other studies showing that when light hits skin, cognition actually improves. Like your metabolism.
Cranks up a little bit when the body feels sunlight coming in. And I thought, that's interesting. That's all good stuff. Then I came across a couple other studies that seemed to indicate that sunlight could lower blood pressure, which was really interesting. So then, I still had the sense sunlight bad, right? So then I remember just like Googling, like, so how much does sunlight like shorten your lifespan? And like the punchline is sunlight seems to extend your lifespan. So when I hit that, I was like, why are we not hearing this? So that was the beginning.
And so what is the problem? Like, what is the issue with sunlight? Like, when you think about skin cancer, what are the confounding factors that lead to skin cancer? Are we completely aware of that?
It's more complicated than we thought. So sunlight does increase your risk of skin cancer, but depending on the type of skin cancer you're talking about, it's not necessarily like a linear relationship. So yes, in general, too much sun increases your risk of skin cancer. But yeah, the question is, what are the confounding factors? How important is
Skin cancer compared to these other things? If sunlight reduces your risk of other diseases, how does that weigh against the risk of skin cancer? So it's not the type of thing that can, be done in a 30-second PSA.
Right. So sun cancer that does cause skin cancer.
Or, excuse me, sun exposure that does cause skin cancer. What is causing it? Why is it happening?
So ultraviolet light, which is the most energy-intense part of the solar spectrum, when those photons of light hit your skin, they go inside. Right? We absorb all wavelengths of light to a greater or lesser degree. And that super high-energy ultraviolet light, if it hits a DNA molecule, it can mess up the DNA molecule. And then that can lead to mutations and skin cancer. Then it can also indirectly cause skin cancer by creating what are called reactive oxygen species, which are free radicals, basically. So it energizes these atoms
that start to steal electrons from other atoms and cause a little chain reaction, which is what free radical is. So ultraviolet light can increase your free radicals, and it can directly damage DNA. So that's why it can cause skin cancer. So it was basically that learning that one fact back in like the 40s and 50s that made scientists start to say, uh-oh.
Light, skin cancer, maybe we should think about how much sun we're getting.
But this wasn't universally accepted, right? There were some people that even back then thought that sun exposure was very healthy for you. Like, when did we figure out that sun causes the body to produce vitamin D?
Yeah, that was an important part, and it's a big part of the story, I think, because that was really back in the 20s that we figured that out. And then even a little earlier, we realized that sunlight could prevent rickets. So,
Rickets?
Yeah, so rickets is a soft bone disease. Like if you don't get enough calcium in your bones when you're a kid, when you're a baby, you get soft bones, you get rickets.
Really bad disease. And it was in the Industrial Revolution, kids started getting rickets. Farm kids never got rickets. Then suddenly kids are working in factories. They're living in cities that are choked with coal smog. They're living in tenement buildings. They're never seeing the sun, and they all start getting rickets. Late 1800s.
Is nutrition a factor in that?
Vitamin D. It was all vitamin D.
At first, they thought maybe it was vitamin A, but it turned out that was how vitamin D was discovered. Was some doctors figured out that it could solve rickets in kids, and then they figured out that if sun hit skin, that's how we made vitamin D. Then they figured out.
How did they figure that out?
They
Tested, they did some tests on dogs. Actually, one of the guys who figured it out. He had a hunch that that's what it was. Like they noticed that kids in the country wouldn't get rickets and kids in the city did get rickets. So like, I wonder if it's sunlight. So then a guy took dogs, and this is
I think Scotland, stuck them in a. They actually thought it was dietary. He stuck them inside in this like little like warehouse and fed them oatmeal, which is what everyone in Scotland ate at the time. And the dogs got rickets, and he thought it was the oatmeal. He's like, okay, so something about diet. But then he got
lucky because he had deprived the dogs of sunlight, and that's why they got rickets. So then eventually they realized that light hitting cholesterol molecules in the skin actually converts the molecules to vitamin D. So vitamin D is like downstream
of cholesterol, but it takes that same ultraviolet light that can screw up your DNA. It actually breaks a bond in the cholesterol molecule, which allows it gives it some movement, and it flips around into a new form that's vitamin D. So once they figure that out, then they're like, sun's really good for you. So we had this era in like the 20s, 30s, and into the 40s when everyone thought sun would cure everything. And they like went after it hard.
Really?
Yeah, like parents would send their kids up into the Alps in like the 20s to institutes for heliotherapy. Kids would ski around in their underwear, take classes in their underwear. There's awesome photos from this era. Like the instructors are in their underwear in the mountains outside in Switzerland, teaching the kids, and everyone looks really healthy, right? So there's kind of like this idea that you couldn't get too much light. So people are literally burning themselves on purpose for health.
Is that the issue? Is burning a giant part of the issue?
Yeah, so to give it away, now it looks like for melanoma, which is the most dangerous type of skin cancer, it's associated with burning strongly, but not with like gentle, moderate, everyday sun exposure.
So, how much of a factor is skin type? Like people that are pale or have freckles and red hair and blonde hair. Like how much of a factor is that in skin cancer? And can they mitigate that by like gentle, slow exposure, like a little bit here, a little bit there, and slowly build up?
Yeah, huge. Like skin type is kind of everything. People who have really dark skin
basically don't get sun-induced skin cancer, almost never. And the the authorities don't tend to talk about that because they want things to be, they want to have like these one-size-fits-all recommendations. But those recommendations to basically always avoid the sun are written for the super fair people, especially if you have red hair